Hello. Hi. Hello there. Hopefully this is working. Everybody seems to be in exactly the right place as well. When we have 4 people on this, like me and 3 others, we get these neat little rectangles all arranged perfectly. But when it's 3 of us, we get these rectangles arranged in a slightly different way. And it can be difficult because unless you're dead in the middle of your camera, you end up sort of drifting off to the side and we just see like half of your forehead or something. So hopefully that's all working. So I can't do my pointy thing today because they're all over that side. So, but I have got 2 people with me today. We were supposed to have a 4th. Paul Lacey sadly is unable to join us because his son is unwell and he's being a good dad and looking after his son. But we do, however, still have a couple of notable WordPress people with us. I'll probably just go in the order that they're on the screen. So Jan, how are you doing?
Doing well, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Do you want to just tell us who you are, where you're from, little elevator pitch type thing?
Absolutely. I'm Jan. I'm a WordPress developer from Germany. And yeah, what I do is I help agencies develop better code. Basically, I recently switched that focus into continuous integration and code validation and that sort of stuff.
Thank you very much. Couple of notable things. Everybody's up in their game with the visual stuff this week. Jan's got himself some new lighting, so that looks really nice. And Shane, you can see in the farthest side, Shane Rielly, all the way from South Africa, has got himself a new webcam, so he looks particularly good this week as well. How you doing, Shane?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you. Stoked to be on again.
Yeah,
it's cool.
You're very welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself and elevator pitch type stuff.
Yeah, Shane Rielly. I live in Johannesburg, South Africa, and I am the founder and co-owner of Lonely Viking, which is a branding and development agency. And our goal is to help business owners save time so they can spend more time with their families while they grow their businesses.
Nice. Well, thank you both. I sincerely appreciate it. What we're doing, just so that you know, WP Builds is a WordPress-based podcast. Myself and David Wormsley each week we release an episode, and then on a Monday we release this kind of like news episode. It's normally about 25 to 30 minutes where I try to sum up in as quick a time as possible kind of what's happened in the WordPress news. And you can find that if you go over to wpbuilds.com, like you can see here. Click on the archives link, and if you click on this news archive button, you will be taken over to the news archive, and it's always this top left one just here. And it looks a bit like this week. I had somebody last week comment and sort of say, when you open the news articles, instead of right-clicking them and opening them in a new tab, why don't you just automatically do it with a keystroke? And the reason I don't do that is because it takes a little bit to load. My Mac is now currently bogged down with it's processing about 4 different videos all at the same time, and it can barely keep up. so I have to just sort of let them load in the background and whatnot. We've not really got any sort of webinars coming up or anything like that, but I would draw your attention, if I may, to this deals page. If you go over here and have a look, you'll be able to see a whole load of WordPressy type deals. If you sort of scroll down, you get the idea. It's things like WP Feedback, WP Scan, Admin Pages Pro, WebArcs, Project Huddle, Lifter. It just kind of keeps going. And very kindly, these product developers have sort of reached out and said, look, your audience, very WordPress specific, let's just give them a deal. So make use of that if you can. But let's get back to the news archive and crack on with our news today. So here it is over here. So the first thing we're going to talk about today is down here under the WordPress core section, and we've got something about Gutenberg. There's a couple of things been added into 6.5, and we were told about this on WP Tavern's website. This, by the way, is just the most amazing place to go to if you want to keep up on kind of WordPress news. This is the spot, and it is basically to say that you can now install blocks via the inserter. So you've got a sort of screenshot that you can see here. If you click on the little add icon, you can search for a block, and if you don't actually have the block installed, you can see on the screen right now, you can actually install it at that point. So I don't know if the authors of blocks have to kind of add this capability or if it's kind of automatically done. I'm not entirely sure, but that's been added in, so you don't have to go hunting for blocks. They've amended the block navigator slightly, but I won't dwell on that too much. But this is quite nice. They've also added in 6.5 a new social links block. And if you just keep your eye on this GIF here, you can see it's dead simple. You insert a block, and then whichever ones you toggle on, you paste a link in underneath to your Facebook feed, Twitter feed, and what have you. You can change, modify the way it looks and so on. So it's pretty simple stuff. But yeah, that's my first little article. I don't know if any of you guys want to sort of make any commentary on that, or should we just press on? Entirely up to you.
Yeah, I think it's nothing like we should spend like 20 minutes on discussing.
No.
What is cool that they are trying to make the editing as smooth as possible. So I really appreciate their efforts into going into that blog installing feature directly when you're creating the content, because that just creates as little friction as possible. Yep. But other than that, I don't have really anything.
No, it's just a nice little update, really, isn't it? Nothing much more to say, but yeah, no, it's quite nice that they do these little updates rather than sort of batch them all in one big hit every sort of 6 months or something. Just dribble them out. However, having said that, if we go on to the next piece, which is over here, this is WP Tavern's article, our second piece, if you like. So this one is over here, and it's Jeffrey Carandang's plugin. He's got this plugin that he's been working on for a little while to add capabilities to Gutenberg, and it's called Editor's Kit. And I don't know if you spotted in the news the last couple of weeks, the guys over at Google have decided that they're going to add some additional attributes to links. So instead of just having no follow options, now if I can find them, that would be helpful. I can't remember what they are, but there's like a promoted, I think it is, and then, oh, here we are. Look, sponsored. So you've got the option to add a link and say, look, this link is sponsored. It's, you know, so that gives it, I suppose, some sort of kudos in the eyes of a search engine. And user generated content. So again, if you've got a comment field or something like that, or you've set yourself up with some sort of commenting feature in your website and you want to disassociate yourself from it but still publish it, you can add this sort of user generated attribute as well. So these are all rel attributes, but you can still stick with the old no follow as well. And sorry, were you going to say something? Nope. No, sorry, misunderstood. I thought somebody was sort of getting in there. And he's also introduced a hotfix for a problem which occurred in Chrome last week. You can see the way it works here, by the way, the links. You just toggle these. So at the minute, you've always got open in new tab. That's an option. But now you can just toggle no follow and sponsored as well. And he also fixed a problem in Chrome 77 whereby the block editor's meta boxes, advanced options, were just sort of floating in the middle, as you can see in this drawing. He fixed that. We don't really need that anymore because Chrome... I'm pretty sure it's true to say that Chrome, although it's gone up in version, I think they rolled back what they'd caused, what the problem was. But yeah, there you go. Nice couple of fixes in Editor's Kit. Don't know if either of you want to comment on that one.
I have not actually used Editor's Kit, so I can't really comment on it. Sounds cool.
Yeah, I mean, he's working quite hard on it. He's got a few plugins which I think have sort of gone on the back burner a little bit so that he can concentrate on this. But I suppose from his point of view, it seems like quite a smart move because this seems like the direction of travel at the moment. You know, if you've got the capability to improve the block editor or build little blocks, it feels like you can get quite a bang for your buck. And, you know, as people are moving over to the new editor, adding in little features like the no follow feature, it seems like a sort of sensible idea, to be honest. The next one, though, is, let me put my screen back up. It's entitled Behind New Packages Project Lead, Theme Review Team Launches Admin Notices Solution. Again, it's on WP Tavern. And this is just to say that we have version 1.0 of the admin notices package. Now, I'm not going to get particularly into the weeds over this, but the idea is that, okay, over time, plugin, theme, well, any developer that's added the capability to install anything into your website. They've kind of taken their own path because there's been no unified way of putting the admin notices together. Well, that's going to change. So hopefully when you log into your WordPress website from now on, any notifications that pop in are going to follow some sort of like standardized way of doing it. You'll be able to set a title and a message, select a type that adds the appropriate UI class. So, you've got blue, green, yellow, red for info, success, warning, and error. Choose which admin screens they're on. So, you might say, actually, the next one's probably more appropriate. Or you can choose the user capability, so basically the user role. And hopefully this will sort of unify things, because I'm sure it's true to say that in the past, I'm sure you've felt this, guys, as well. You've installed a plugin and for some reason you can't dismiss the notification, or possibly the notification kind of fills up 3/4 of the viewport of your screen, and this just seems like a sensible way to go forward. I'll hand it over.
Yeah. Hopefully WooCommerce will follow that.
Yeah, it just seems like a sensible set of defaults, to be honest. To me, I can't see why this wouldn't happen. So let's get on to our major piece of news. I think this probably, although it's not in the WordPress core section, I think this is probably the big one that everybody's been talking about this week. This is the jaw-dropping amount of money that Automattic have raised. I mean, I feel sometimes like I've become a little bit, what's the word? You hear these numbers being bandied around all the time in terms of like Google and Facebook and telecoms companies and things like Netflix and what have you. So all of a sudden $300 million doesn't necessarily seem like all that much money, but remember the space we're in. It's a free open source bit of software, which obviously has a kind of commercial side to it in Automattic, and they've raised $300 million from Salesforce. Now, I don't know if Salesforce Ventures and Salesforce are exactly the same thing, or if Salesforce Ventures is literally the arm of the company which goes out and gives away money. But it also bumps them up to a $3 billion valuation. Now, Matt Mullenweg is sort of saying there's, the things which got mentioned in this press release, interestingly, were WordPress.com. So look at the order of this paragraph. It might be worth reading it out in total. For Automattic, the funding will allow us to accelerate our roadmap, perhaps by double, and scale up our existing products, including WordPress.com, WordPress VIP, WooCommerce, Jetpack, and in a few days when it closes, Tumblr. It will also, he stresses, allow us to increase investing our time and energy into the future of the open source project WordPress and Gutenberg. So the bit that I was left thinking there was obviously the commercial side, the WordPress.com and the WooCommerce are what this is really all about, but hoping that a sizable amount of that money, that money will come towards the open source project as well. So I'm gonna let you guys take it.
I think that's a really smart investment from Salesforce, because I think they're somewhat competing or somewhat appealing to a similar audience, at least, like people using these sort of platforms. And now with that venture, I think Salesforce has protected themselves against losing their own company value if the WordPress value increases or the Automattic value increases. So it's like, to me, it seems like a balancing act for Salesforce.
I don't really know a great deal about Salesforce, to be honest. I mean, clearly everybody's aware of their, I would say probably one of the leading companies in the field that it is, but I don't really have any interactions with them, never purchased their software, or indeed, I don't even think I've ever even looked at their software.
I just hear that they're super complex to use.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Probably like SAP or something.
Yeah. What about you, Shane? What do you think about this?
Yeah, I think $3 billion. It's quite an incredible valuation, right? So they sold like a 10% stake, I guess, which is kind of amazing. Yeah, to be honest, I don't think Jetpack is worth $10, but um, sorry, I couldn't resist an opportunity to kick Jetpack. But yeah, I think it's amazing. I actually have a few friends who work for Automatic, and they love working for them as a company. So I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know much about investments and that kind of thing, but yeah.
The obviously, like we said, the WordPress.com VIP, WooCommerce, and Jetpack. That's what this is all about. But it feels to me that the Gutenberg and the WordPress thing. If they don't get dragged along for the ride, then the future of all the ones higher up the pecking order financially is very much in doubt. There was some other comment in here about I can't remember, it was the valuation of what it was previously. I'm pretty sure that here we go. Yeah, look. So go back until 2014, just 2014, when they did their Series C. This is obviously now Series D, so the next one. 160 million was raised, and I don't know what the valuation was, but I think it was significantly less than that. And they've now got 950 employees, which is gigantic. I read a really interesting tweet by Jeff Chandler, who no longer does work on WP Tavern. He left a matter of months ago, saying something along the lines of he wondered if this money was kind of required or if it's just welcome, wondering whether or not this stuff needed to come down the pipeline in order to keep those 950 hungry employees paid, or whether or not this was totally just money which was going to go into the future. Somebody's getting a Skype call, I think. We've got a couple of comments from people in the crowd watching. Chris Hughes says, well, I'm going to paraphrase what I know he wrote before as well as this one. He's hoping to see some improvements in the media library on the back of this 300 million. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Hopefully,
that would be great.
Yeah, that's all we get out of it. That would be great. Peach,
totally worth.
Yeah. Peach is saying it might also mean the open source project will see even more automatic employees working on it. Well, that's what I wrote when I read out when I was doing this news. I was hoping that they would just second a bunch more people straight over to WordPress.org, like a dozen, 50. I doubt it. But yeah, that would be great. And Heinrich says, Jan is 100% right. I use Salesforce and it's really only for large enterprise companies. So there you go. Question answered there. Right. Okay.
Okay, I leave the call then. I was right one time, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're okay. It was ringing, but we're back. Right. Let's drop that one. But that was a really interesting bit of news and totally out of the blue. I did not see it coming. So we got WooSesh is the next one. WooSesh is a WooCommerce free to attend online virtual conference, and this article is dead simple. It's basically happening between the 9th and the 10th of October. So what's that? A few more weeks away. And you can now register your interest, and I think this box is the one to do it in. I don't know about any upsells or anything like that. I think it's just, go in, find out what's going on. But if you're into WooCommerce, this seems like something to attend. I don't suppose either of you guys are going to want to comment on that one, so I'll just press on. This one is all about Elementor. I just thought this was quite nice. The guys over at PowerPack, they've got a Beaver Builder version, and they've got a Elementor version. It's called PowerPack. In the one that I'm familiar with is called PowerPack for Beaver Builder. I don't know if it's called PowerPack for Elementor, but anyway, Puneet has thrown together a really long list of Elementor tutorials. So I just thought I'd mention this because I know a lot of the people who listen to this, watch this, always talking about Elementor. And so here is, click on that link, just a whole bunch of people. And confess, I hadn't heard of probably 2/3 of them. So I think it's quite nice being put in front of new material, and new, sometimes the style of a person delivering a course or giving away free content can be engaging or not engaging. So anyway, there we go. What else have we got? Right. You ever heard of Justin Tadlock, guys? Justin Tadlock. Because Justin Tadlock has, this week, joined WP Tavern. There is actually a similar article on WP Tavern, as you can see, but I thought I'd link to the WP Shout article this week. Justin Tadlock, I mean, goodness knows how long he's been using WordPress. I'm sure it's far, far longer than most of us. I think it's like more than a decade. Very experienced developer, constantly writing amazing stuff on his own channel. He's been taken on, and I think he's been taken on full time. Whether that means his own projects are going to take a bit of a sideline or not, I'm not entirely sure. But you guys ever come across Justin Tadlock?
Not really, to be honest.
I mean, I'm sure I've probably read a bunch of his stuff, but I don't actually know who he is.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy that if you follow the news like I do, he's constantly putting out really great articles. He's produced a whole load of stuff that you'd have heard of, although sadly my memory is failing. I can't exactly remember, but he's amazing, and it's kind of just one of those nice things that if he was kind of looking for a writing gig, this came along at the perfect time. I presume it's kind of like a straight swap for Jeff Chandler, who I mentioned recently, had just left. Maybe Justin's been put in, or maybe they're taking on a whole new team. Well, only time will tell, I suppose. Let's find out what we're going next. This is really interesting if you follow kind of different parts of the world in WordPress, and also if you follow, equality and things like that. This is this article was sort of split into two parts. The first one, I should probably name it first. It's by Sarah Gooding, and it says, "New Atok WordPress meetup empowers Pakistani women freelancers and business owners." That title actually addresses something which is way further down. The first thing is to say that WordCamp Lahore, which got sadly cancelled, it just says here it was derailed by local disagreements and ultimately cancelled. I don't really know what that debate was all about. They've got that back on track, which is nice. But then also the story really that the headline was about is about this lady called Salma Nareen, who has been working with WordPress in her native country of Pakistan. And she feels that in her own country, just sort of paraphrasing from the article, she feels that in her own country there's quite a lot of difficulty in females taking up positions, but also like having just general ability to move around the country. You've got to be a little bit mindful about moving away from where you were born and so on and so forth. And so she's setting up an initiative to try. It's called a meetup in Atok, to try and empower females in Pakistan to sort of take the step and figure out that actually you can do a perfectly good week's work on a computer where you are currently. So I just thought that was a nice thing and worth mentioning.
Wasn't that part of Antjen's virtual WordPress summit as well?
Say again.
Wasn't that part of Anshan's great virtual WordPress summit too?
I don't know.
I remember when I watched your session, Shane, that she asked you how to strengthen the WordPress community in South Africa in her case. Well, wasn't that a similar situation?
So part of the reason she set that up was to try to sort of empower people in Africa to start using WordPress. And so one of her main questions was like, what are some different ways that we can like get the sort of the gospel of WordPress out to Africa, and how can we train people up and get them to start using these sort of free tools to build businesses for themselves and stuff. So I guess it's definitely along the same lines. I think it's really cool what this lady in Pakistan is doing. Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is really cool. I mean, I've never been to Pakistan, so I don't really understand the politics and the ins and outs. And my memory isn't correctly grabbing hold of why she felt this was important, but it was something definitely along the lines of the ability to geographically move throughout the country and So here she goes. Here we go. So this is in quotation marks. I presume it's a quote from her. Being a woman, I was more worried about women as we have a cultural barrier that most women cannot get permission to relocate or go out of home for a regular 9-to-5 job. Introducing them to WordPress and then guiding them on how to find online clients has helped many to earn a decent living from home. So I mean, who could argue with that? That just seems like such a laudable product.
Super cool.
And such a laudable idea. So the link is in here, an Atok meetup. So if that interests you, please go check it out. Okay, let's move right along. What else have we got this week? We have got, one second, Gothenburg. Let's move along. What have we got? Oh yeah, we got WPMU Devs Hosting. That's our next one today. This has been out for a little while, actually. They've had this hosting option. If you've been a member of WPMU Devs subscription service, they have, by the way, you should listen to this thing, Hello WP, which is their podcast. It's really great. They have been, you've had 3 sites within your your sort of admin panel for WPMU Dev for 6 months or more. But for some reason, they haven't made it entirely official. Anyway, this article is basically saying that they have now made it official. This podcast, they did an entire podcast episode. I'm not sure if I click on that, whether it's going to go to this specific episode. Let's just have a look. No. But if you listen to the very first episode, sorry, not the first one, the most recent one, it's all about the team that have gone into this, the 2 years of development and so on, and what they claim are the differences, and you can figure it out for yourself by looking at this article. But yet another host in the hosting space. I think it's built on top of, if I'm remembering correctly, it's built on top of DigitalOcean. But they've tried to make it absolutely bulletproof WordPress. The ins and outs of it are all in here. There you go. There's the podcast episode itself. But there you go. Don't know who you guys use for hosting. If you've ever experimented with this stuff, what's your current setup?
Always.
We're currently using DigitalOcean servers with RunCloud to manage the sort of the graphical user interface side of it.
Yep.
And that's working really well for us. Hosting is one of those things, like, don't you, I'm sure you must get it in your group a lot, where that question comes up every now and then.
Yep.
Hey, who can recommend a host to me?
What's the best
like
host?
The worst thread. Yeah, it's like the worst thread you can imagine. But I guess it's cool.
So RunCloud, I confess, I know that Raj often listens in on this, and Paul Lacey is there. I think he said global or something the other week. They're kind of RunCloud ambassador or something like that. So there's obviously a lot of people using it. You find it just to be convenient, do you? You just click some buttons and everything just spins up in DigitalOcean. But you could use a different platform. You could use like Google or Linode or something like that.
Yeah, you can use basically any server, and then it just acts as the interface to manage the like your applications on your servers and stuff.
Yeah.
And the initial setup, it takes a little bit of I had to initially read just like the how-to guide and stuff. But my business partner's he's like a developer, and he knows how to manage servers, so he sets all of that up now. But they've recently got one-click WordPress installs on the new version, which is really cool. And it's been good for us. It's easy. It's kind of like Cloudways in some ways, but cheaper, because you're paying for RunCloud once, and you're paying for each server the actual DigitalOcean price instead of the inflated price that Cloudways sets up. And also, they've got a great API, and so we're using that API to do cool things like spin up new WordPress instances from a Git with like all our plugins that we always use and that kind of stuff, which is cool.
Nice.
What about you, Jan? I know this is an area that you're really into as well. What are you currently fiddling with?
I have all my sites on Cloudways.
Right.
I have like 60 websites and 8 servers or something. some hosted for our customers and some for myself.
Yep.
I recently started experimenting with Vultr servers rather than DigitalOcean, but I'm not deep enough into that experiment to give any recommendation or solid advice about that.
No, I think the problem that a lot of these companies face. So in this case, we're looking at this article from WPMU Dev. Is just it's like inertia, isn't it? Once you've Shane then just espoused he's very happy with RunCloud, and so getting Shane to think, okay, I'm gonna try something else is difficult. It's a bit like banking, once you've got something and you're happy with it, even though the price point might not be necessarily as competitive, I think it's very difficult to get people to come over. But anyway, WPMU Dev are certainly going to be trying to do that, so good luck to them. We'll see how it goes. Todd has said Raj is the man. Speaking of the man, this article over here is all about our good friend Vito Peleg, who is often here. He was on last week actually from Israel, and he's back in the UK. There's this article which has been put out on the Freemius blog. Now, Vito, this is great. This is so interesting. It's massive. Now, it was huge. Yeah. And the title says it all: how to have a $100,000 plus WordPress product launch. I don't claim to know the numbers, but obviously 100,000 plus seems to me like quite a nice number. And Vito then goes on to, there's an audio version here, but then he goes on to explain in really amazing detail what they did. And I saw part of this happening in real time. Not that. There was a picture of him playing a guitar, and I can vouch for everything that I saw happening. But then he goes into breathtaking detail about the things that he set up in, I can't remember if it was Active Campaign or whatever, the email sequences, all of this kind of stuff, how they thought the product launch through from the beginning. It's just brilliant. And I don't know if you guys had any chance to read it, but I would say that if you've got any ambitions of launching a product, this is the one to read.
Yeah.
Well done, Vito. Not only can you launch...
it's excellent.
Yeah. Sorry, carry on, Shane.
No. I thought it was like a huge article to get through, but there was so much actionable content in there. It was really, really good. As you have done, I would recommend anyone to go and read it. It's really excellent.
What I took from it was that he could have... I was really impressed that he could have kept an awful lot of this stuff to himself. And what I mean by that is there's quite a lot of clever things that he did in here that have clearly worked, but he's just opened it all up and let it all go. Facebook interactions, opt-in survey, it's all there. I mean, it really is. I don't know how many words it is, but it's a lot of words. He includes all of his videos so that you can see kind of in chronological order what he was doing, and stuff that he messed up, stuff that he did right. It's just brilliant. So congratulations, Vito. I don't know if Vito's watching this at the moment. If he's not, then I'll certainly ping him afterwards and say very well done. That's brilliant. Yeah, great. Okay, let's crack on. We're now talking about plugins and themes. I'm going to do this very quickly, if that's okay. The first one is MainWP. I use MainWP. I'm very, very happy with it. It's my weapon of choice for updating client websites. And they recently had a bit of an update. They've got this new UI, which is a little bit more slick. I have to say, I found it from a mobile point of view. Sadly, I found it to be really difficult to use. I was quite into updating things from my phone, which is a bit stupid because if anything went wrong, but I would only ever do it from my home, like in a sofa downstairs away from my laptop. But the point was I could do it, and I'm finding that process to be really almost impossible on the new UI. But having said that, I think you should probably do it from your desktop in case things go wrong. But I like it. It's really nice.
HTTP via your phone,
yeah. It's just, not going to be able to fix that stuff. But they've decided also that the UI that they've got might not be to your liking, so why not open up customization to you? So free, completely free. Yeah, free, there it is. If you're a MainWP user, Todd There's Vito. Vito's just joined us. He missed a bit about him. The Todd obviously is very much connected with main WP, and this is nice. Just I haven't implemented it because I have to say I'm happy with the green. I quite like it. But you've got the option to fiddle with CSS, fiddle with PHP, and fiddle with JS, so you can do all sorts of things that you would like to do. So there we go. That's quite nice. Either of you use that?
Yep.
Yeah, we use it. We used to use Managed WP.
Yep.
And then we moved probably 3 months ago. And I must say the new UI is much better. I like it actually quite a lot.
Yeah.
Especially in comparison to how it was. But I think it's a great system. It's working really well for us.
I have not had a single instance where anything has gone wrong. Not one thing that I could say that didn't work. I'm just seeing what their pricing model is, because they used to have, and maybe if Todd can confirm, I can't see what there we go, main WP Pro. Let's put that on the screen. I'm just showing it. Yeah, look at this. They've still got the lifetime deal, so I would say certainly have a look at this. $399.
That's pretty epic.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I mean it does so much more than you think. That I think, for obvious reasons, they slim down what it's capable of on the website because it would completely overawe you. But you imagine it. Look at it. These are all the capabilities. You imagine it. They've cracked it. In my case, I'm using it to send client reports on a monthly basis to my care plan users, but also just to the normal daily process of updating websites. But it does a whole ton, and for $400 strikes me as a right old deal, that one. I haven't got it, I haven't tried to put 100 sites on there. I'm guessing you'd need hardware that can cope with doing all sorts of things, but for what I need to use it for, it's absolutely magnificent. So no hesitation.
That's actually something holding me back, because we have 95 websites in Managed WP right now.
Yeah.
And it's working okay. I mean, I'm not in love with Managed WP. It has its issues.
Yep.
I would love to hear if anybody has experience with running that number of sites in main WP.
Yeah, I bet you it could absolutely handle it. I'll tell you why I say that, because it does things concurrently. It's not like you click update all and it goes off and tries to update them all. What it does is it batches them. Well, that's the wrong word, but it does one, finishes it, moves on, finishes it, moves on, finishes it, and waits for a confirmation. So from that point of view, it's not really doing a great deal. I mean, it's triggered something to update, and then it's waiting for a response, gets the response, publishes it.
That's what Managed WP does too.
Yeah.
So it builds this queue of sites that it's working on, and then just one by one. Yeah.
I got little nice. I feel that we've really given them a nice free plug today, aren't we? This is good. Loads and loads of capabilities. Anyway, we'll
got an affiliate link that you can somewhere.
probably somewhere. But it's worth it. Just go check it out. Yeah. Right, the next one is this one. I just think this is super cool. This is WP Hindi. This is great. So this a guy in I'm not sure where he lives. I think it's India. He says in India. He's written a plugin which will in real time convert English into Hindi. It's called WP Hindi. And apparently Hindi is the fastest growing language in India. Lots and lots of people, 520 million people. Wow, that's just amazing. Speaking it. And so obviously, wouldn't it be nice if you could have people, people sort of showing their websites in Hindi. So if I was to click this button, you'd be able to see it. You type in a word, press space, and it just converts it into Hindi. I just think that's really cool. And imagine that being used. My only sort of slight reservation is, how does it cope with things like grammar and sentence order and things like that? Presumably it's just converting.
I don't speak Hindi well enough.
No, sadly not. But nevertheless.
I think we've lost Shane.
Shane seems to have gone. So now we've, look, the bits at the bottom are now no longer accurate. It says Nathan Wrigley on the left, Jan in the middle, and Shane on the right. But he's not here. So you'll just
He's
have,
still with us in our
yeah,
hearts,
I
though.
might just quickly invite him back in. See if he's gone somewhere. Add him back in. See what happens. If he comes back in, that'd be lovely. Sometimes the real world gets in the way, doesn't it? And you have to go off and do other things.
Or the internet connection, yeah.
Yeah, we'll press on regardless. In fact, I might just press that button and make those lower thirds go away. So now it's just me and Jan. Right, let's find the next one. We have some... Oh, let me just quickly... Jan, have I skipped the ones that you wanted to mention? No, we're good still.
I know
Okay.
we're not there yet.
Yeah, okay. Few little deals to mention this week. Just click on these links. I use a company called Sticker Mule to create like WP Build stickers and things like that. And this is a great deal. You can get 50 of them for $19, down from $97. So there you go. That's not an affiliate link or anything. And then these two are on AppSumo. There's a company called Themile. They're giving away 3 of their themes. It's $49 or something. And then there's another one called Amelia. That might actually be sold out now. Anyway, caveat emptor. Go and check those out if you want to. And then we've got the usual array of WordPressy security stuff. Now, I don't...
Do you want to mention Shane's plugin as well?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Fatal Error Notify.
Yeah, that's great. Good idea. Right, what I'll do is I'll quickly click on his link if I can find it. Shane put something extra in. Thanks for mentioning that, Jan. That's great. He mentioned something called Fatal Error Notify. Now, I don't know anything about this. Presumably, Shane was going to alert us as to why it was good. But have you come across this? What's about this?
I saw the link that he brought in there, and it looks like a plugin that gives you all the debug messages that simply go into the debug log file and lets you access them from the backend and has some fancy email notifications and stuff like that.
Well, it was nice of him to throw it in. So here we go. Fatal error. It will let you know whenever something on your site breaks. It will tell you which theme or plugin caused the error, which users were affected, and on what page the error occurred. Right, okay, so we've got an idea of what it's about. And the reason it's being mentioned by Jan at this exact moment is because they would appear to have some sort of lifetime deal. Oh, Shane's put a little message up saying that his internet dropped. It's back up now. I'll just try and get him back in one more time. 1 second. Where are you, Shane?
Hello.
Oh, you're back.
Hey.
Yeah,
let's just see.
sorry about that.
No, you don't have to apologise. We can't see you yet. You'll have to share your.
I do see you.
Oh, do you? I can't see you.
With a nice blurred background from that.
That setting is on now.
Let me see why I can't see you, Shane. We're actually talking about whilst I try to fix that, on screen is your Fatal Error Notify deal that you mentioned. Yeah. I just wondered if you could talk us through what it's for, what it's about, and so on, because I don't really get it.
Yeah, so I'm actually, that group, the Martech group that is running that deal is a group that I'm a mod in.
Yep.
And so, full disclosure, I don't get anything out of the sale of it, but it seems like quite a cool plugin. Although with WordPress now doing that whole like sort of safe mode notifications thing of their own, I don't know how long until they've got all of this kind of stuff built in. But this is pretty cool. It basically looks for errors inside of like plugins code and stuff, and then it notifies you before something fatal could happen to your websites and stuff. So that seems pretty cool.
Yeah,
I think the WordPress. I think the WordPress notification system has quite a flaw, though. There was something that I was working on WordCamp Europe with another developer on that coding day, which is if you send out or if you trigger that email notification that goes to the admin email address, it somehow blocks it for 24 hours, if I remember correctly. It just sends one fatal error email per 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
And if you change that admin email address in that meantime, maybe because there was an outdated email address in there or something like that from the old developer who built that website, then you cannot trigger the same email to that new email address.
Oh, weird.
And that's something that I actually committed a fix for. I have no idea if that is accepted for WordPress core in the next version or something like that. But that's something that the community has to work on.
Nice.
Wow.
Shane, I actually cannot see you. that is to say that when I put you on screen, we've basically just got me and Jan. So I don't know if you could possibly switch your webcam off and switch it on again. It's we run this through Skype. So Skype is the tool that connects all of us together, and then we use a Mac bit of software called Ecamm Live, and Ecamm Live then hooks into Skype and puts us on. But if I can't see you in Skype, I won't be able to see you on the on here, sadly, which is a shame. But we've got your voice, so we might just press on and hope that you come back. Okay, so let's try and pick up where we were before. But thank you for dropping that in, Jan. That's really great. So, a couple of things that we were going to mention in terms of security and so on and so forth. Very light touch. The first one is this fake verification scam link on Securi. Malicious payload in appointment booking plugin. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I know that Jan wants to mention this one though, which is again on the Securi blog called Misuse of WordPress update_option function. What did you want to add to this?
The issue that Securi pointed out was that there is no verification happening in some plugins that execute that update option function. So they just write the value to the database, no matter if that function call actually was valid or not.
Right.
And it is super easy to avoid things like that when you're writing code for WordPress, because there are WordPress coding standards that you can implement into either a continuous integration routine or into your own editor that you use for writing code, like VS Code or PHP Storm or something like that. And then you will see a notification that you're missing that verification.
Yeah.
So that's as simple as it gets to avoid errors like that.
It's an easy one to avoid, but nevertheless it seems to have been avoided. I mean, yeah, there you go. But,
I mean, you need to have those coding standards installed. Maybe the developer missed that.
Yeah, but still worth mentioning. The other one is oh no, we've had that one. Let's go back, see what we've got. This is nice. I always mention this one just because I think it's a lovely visual way of checking out the stuff that's happened over the last few weeks. This is iThemes, who have the security plugin, and I mention this just because you can scroll through it and you can see the icons of all the different plugins, and hopefully some of them, as you scroll through, you go, oh, that's me, I need to check that out. Obviously, if you're using something like main WP or manage WP, you should be on the latest version anyway, but there you go, that's worth mentioning. We've got a researcher dropping a PHP. Why do people do this? Some researcher decided to drop a PHP MyAdmin 0-day. By all accounts, it's not actually anything you particularly need to worry about, because the process that you'd have to go through to execute this vulnerability is more complicated. But it does bring... Why drop 0-day vulnerabilities into the public domain? Why not give the person, or the team in this case, 90 days, get it fixed up?
He did.
I thought it was dropped. I'm sorry. I'm confusing two articles. Sorry. Thank you, Jan.
I'm just going through the Hacker News article that you have in the Google Doc that you shared with us. Yep. And they say Cardenas discovered this vulnerability back in June 2019.
I missed that line. Thank you so much.
And also responsibly reported it. And then the maintainers didn't patch that vulnerability within 90 days.
Well, in which case, I forgot that little bit, and I retract everything that I just said. I'm glad that he did. And
your point is right.
Yeah, if they don't, do anything over a 90-day period, I don't really know what you've got left, apart from just actually letting it go out into the wild, because now at least everybody knows about it and they'll hopefully fix it really, really quickly. I mean, 90 days seems like a fair enough amount of time to me.
Yeah.
But okay, anyway, there we go. Now, this one has come on to my attention. I do not know what people are going to make of this, but I know David Wormsley started looking at this, as has Paul Lacey. I'm just going to drop it in there, say go and check it out. It's a tool called Virus Die. You can... the words single click and virus scanning kind of worry me always, easy. But I don't know. Apparently you put a folder in the root of your website and it takes care of it no matter what platform you're on. They've got an offer on, I think it's Stack Social or something, so you can pick this up. It's in early development. But anyway, there it is. It's out there for all to see. WP Build stuff. What did we do this week? We did a few things. We did a podcast with two lovely guys from Essex called James and Martin Coates. And a bit like Vito with his article where he explained everything that he did to launch his product. These two guys explained everything they did to launch a WordPress website, a fairly sizable WordPress multi-site network. And they go through the whole process of what tools did they use, what order did they do things in, how did they communicate, and so on. So recommend that. Two lovely chaps and really nice. There's a lot of information in there that I learned. I can't show you this one because I'm not logged into Facebook, and I won't be able to show you the next one either, but I will tell you what they're about because they're absolutely lovely. In our Facebook group, and I can't remember the names, a chap late last week said, wouldn't it be nice if there was a plugin or a solution where I could log into my WordPress dev site and my WordPress live site and the UI for the admin area was totally different? Wouldn't that be a nice thing? And one of the members of the community said, yeah, why don't you build it? And came back and said, I can't. I don't have the capability to build it. And his reply was, you can't, but I can. And he did. He built it and he got it in the WordPress repository all in the space of a week. So I just thought that was lovely. I think it was, I'm going to say Alan Fuller. Yep. Are you logged in to Facebook? You can see that, can you?
Checked it.
Yeah.
I also shared the link to that thread.
Oh, thank you. So if you're in the group, you can obviously see it. Yeah, thank you. I just thought that was really, really nice. And speaking of really, really nice, Peacher, who was listening to this, she effed up, as she said, some client communication this week, and I think basically she posted to have a little bit of camaraderie, a bit of moral backslapping, and kind of, tell me it's all right. And just to say, it was really nice. About 50, I'm guessing. I can't remember the number of comments. Loads and loads of comments came through, just basically reassuring her that all was okay, and everything was all right, and she was going to be all right. So I think the WP Builds Facebook group is a bit of a cool place to go. Are you still with us, Shane? We can't see you.
I am.
Are you a member of the WP Builds Facebook group?
Yes, I am a member of the group.
Yeah, it's great. I don't know quite how we ended up with nice people. I don't think I've banned a single comment. I don't think I've banned a user. I think I did once. No, that's a lie. I did once because somebody just came in and posted some totally off-kilter, random, nothing to do with WordPress weirdness, advertising stuff. But that was it. But that wasn't an actual person. That was a robot. So I'm very, very pleased with the way that goes. I got no jobs for you this week, ladies and gentlemen. I can't tell you about any WordPress jobs, but if anybody knows about any, please let me know about them, and then I can put them in this newsletter, and you might very well find an employee that way. I might beef up that procedure so it's a bit more authentic and real. I don't know, a post type or something like that. And what have we got? We're very, very close to the end of time, so I don't know if any of you guys wanted to talk about these in particular, but I think I'll only mention 2. No, 3. First one, this one right at the bottom. Go Cardless. Go Cardless is a UK based, I'm going to say UK based in my ignorance, I think it is, payment company. And wherever it's possible, I use Go Cardless now because it offers the cheapest rates. I know it's available in Australia. It uses the direct debit system, but they've now launched in the United States, and it's dead cheap. And they cap the amount. I think they cap it at 20 pence, which is about, 25 cents or something. That's the most you can pay per transaction, no matter how big the transaction is. So if it's like a $4,000 transaction, you still pay 20 pence.
Sorry, they cap at £2.
Oh, £2.
20 pence is minimum. So
there you go.
Too expensive for me.
£2. I think that's a great proposition, though. The idea that £2 on a $10,000 transaction. Yeah. It's mainly for recurring stuff. So it's kind of, if you've got a care plan or something, I set all of my clients up with that service. I don't have any software that integrates with it. I literally send them to my custom domain CNAMED page. They sign up, and it doesn't connect with any software. I just get notified when they cancel. So I stop doing their care plans. It's dead easy. The other ones that I was going to mention, this is horrible. Did you get a chance, either of you, to read the Facebook on The Guardian, this article about Facebook moderators?
No.
Yeah, I did. That's pretty disturbing.
Yeah. So I have a great big ad, which is thankfully going away. Guardian is a UK-based paper, and they do a lot of long-form journalism. They're very much left-leaning, but I kind of like their stuff. And this article is all about this. Wow, there's a place in Germany, and I've forgotten the name of the town. Berlin, maybe it is actually. I think it is Berlin, but yeah, it says here Berlin-based moderator center. So, can you imagine the stuff that comes, like that gets flagged in Facebook? Can you imagine the diabolical, horrible stuff that comes there through Facebook moderators' screens? Well, these guys have got to look at this stuff 8 hours a day, and some of it is just breathtakingly awful. And it's about the fact that really these guys are, they're seeing inappropriate stuff, really violent stuff that, I don't know, no human being would really welcome seeing. And it's all about how the company takes care of them or doesn't take care of them, frankly. So, yeah.
There's actually a huge discussion in Germany going on about a similar topic right now, where a political person has been harassed on Facebook, like really, really badly. And then quite a big German court ruled that out with the result that she had to accept that because it was part of free speech. And that was quite hilarious, because it was like really, really bad terms they called her.
Yeah. We're really testing the boundaries of law, aren't we, with this stuff? Yeah. But I think the problem here isn't so much what they're seeing, it's like the lasting impact that these people have on their lives, so they become a bit sort of desensitized. So if they're constantly looking at inappropriate images, what the article purports is that if you see images of a really unsavory nature, you become kind of desensitized to it, and in some regards it's quite possible that this becomes your now new normal. And obviously some of the stuff that you're looking at, particularly related to children or what have you, nobody needs to see that, and nobody needs to get normalized against that. And I think really, if Facebook is putting people in front of this, they need to be taking enormous care of these people and helping them through this, so that this isn't happening. Anyway, very strange one for this news. Sorry if that's a little bit alarming. I do apologise. And the last one that I'm going to show is this. I claim no knowledge about this. Oops, let me just close that. I opened up a new browser tab instead of a new window. I claim no knowledge about this particularly, but it's CNET saying that apparently Google have got a secret web page so that advertisers can go to it, and it will give you information about. Let me just read it out. New evidence submitted for a European investigation into Google's collection of personal data accuses the search giant of stealthily sending your personal user data to advertisers. The company allegedly relays this information to advertisers using hidden web pages. Now, the other article that I read about this says that if you go to these web pages as a normal person, you see nothing. I mean, nothing. There's just nothing to see. But advertisers with the correct hooks, API, I don't know, with the correct scraping information, can actually get data about what users have been doing. I don't really understand it, but it just strikes me as, maybe Google trying cleverly to get around some GDPR type regulation. But yeah, there you go. There you go. I think I'm done. Shane, are you still there?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
I can see you all the time.
Yeah.
Like, the camera back and forth and stuff.
It's super weird. If I try to, let me see what I can do. Hold on. I mean, it's too late to do anything. But if I try to add him in,
fall into it all over with Shane again.
Yeah. If I try to add him in by clicking the proper button, all I get is a black rectangle. So I can now see a black rectangle with.
It seems accurate.
What side of your cat? That's black.
Let me try on this one before we wind up. It would be nice. No, it's black. Look, I don't know what's going on. I've absolutely no idea.
No worries.
As always, the sort of slightly insincere thanks that I do at the end, and I always fear that it sounds insincere, but it isn't. It's really properly heartfelt. So thank you, Jan, who is there on the screen that way, and thank you also to Shane, who sadly sort of internet connection let him down, but he's there. Thank you both so much. Yeah, he's there in spirit, if not in visual form. He's there in audio form. No, I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, and thank you lot for attending. Do you know what? I never promote this stuff. I'm just not very good at promoting stuff. But if you fancy letting people know that we do this with a email or a link or something, that'd be nice. That'd be really nice. I'd really appreciate that. So go share it somehow. Thank you very much indeed. And I'm going to knock it on the head.